Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today I have some really creepy real life story that will leave you shocked. If you have ever experienced something terrifying, I would love to hear about it. You can send me your stories through this email and I will do my best to share them with everyone. And this email is in the description. Just one thing, make sure your stories are real. We want the really creepy stuff. No fake stories. Now, without wasting any more time, here is the story that will blow your mind. Something you have never heard before. Apartment 311. This story is about a young woman, her name Flora. It was her first time renting her apartment alone. She was not looking for anything weird, just a quiet, affordable place to live. She found a spot that seemed almost too good to be true. The rent was shockingly low for the area. The apartment was spotless and the landlord seemed almost too eager to get her moved in fast. Everything from touring the apartment to signing the lease and move in only took about a week. Looking back, that should have been the first red flag. Apartment 311 had two bedrooms and one bathroom. Flora could convert one bedroom into an office. By the way, the living room was decent sized with the sofa pushed against one wall, a small coffee table and TV in the corner. The couple of old paintings were already hanging on the walls. One of the women in the white dress under a tree, another of a small landscape. It gave the place a bit of character, not like those completely empty apartments that feel kind of off. The kitchen was small but functional, with white cabinets and faintly musty smell that came and went. Nothing major, just occasionally noticeable. At first, everything seemed normal. Flora settled in, unpacked boxes, organized her office, and started her routine. But after a couple of weeks, little things started happening. Snack disappeared, the fridge door was left open once or twice, fruits moved from one shelf to another, always while she was asleep. Flora thought maybe she was imagining things or forgetting she got up at night. Sleepwalking, maybe? She had not installed cameras because they were too expensive. The door was always locked, sometimes even bolted. Nothing made sense. Flora had always had sleep problems and occasional sleep paralysis, normally mild, maybe once every few months. But in this apartment, it became weekly. One night, she woke paralyzed. She could not move, could not scream, and it was hard to breathe. She felt that familiar presence in the room, but this time it was stronger, heavier, like someone was actually there. The bathroom door slowly creaked open, inch by inch, and then she saw him. A man peeked his hairless, pale, flaky head around the door. His dull eyes reflected the moonlight from the window. He had a forced, terrifying grin, yellow, chipped teeth clenched tight. Flora was frozen, unable to scream. He walked in slowly, skinny like a skeleton, with cuts and dirt all over him. Totally naked, his hot breath hit her face, smelling like that musty odor from the living room. She was feeling his anger coming off him like heat from the fire. He just stood there staring for what felt like hours. No blinking, no movement, just pure silence. Finally, he turned and quietly left, closing the door behind him. And that night, she could not sleep at all. She just lay there in bed, stiff and frozen, staring at the same spot on the ceiling for hours. Every little sound made her heart jump. The tick of the clock, the creak of the floor, even the wind outside. When the first ray of morning came through the curtains, she finally pushed herself up. Her whole body was shaking. She felt terrified, like someone was still inside the room with her. Quickly, she turned on every single light in the apartment, trying to push away the shadows, and then she began searching. She called in sick that day and searched the whole apartment, every closet, under every sink, every small office, but it was empty. No one was there. Still, Jimmy, as he would later call him, stayed in her mind. His presence felt so strong, like he was hiding somewhere in the shadows, watching her every move. Weeks kept passing, and the sleep paralysis did not stop. Night after the night, Jimmy came back. He never spoke, never touched her, just stood there staring. And honestly, that was worse. Flora even tried giving him a name, hoping it would make him feel less terrifying, but it only made him feel more real. One morning, after another long sleepless night, Flora was going through the some papers on the desk. That's when she noticed a photograph tucked underneath. Two women hugging and smiling in front of waterfall. Flora stared at it, confused. She did not know them at all. She turned it over, and that's when her heart skipped. Right beside the picture on the corner was a phone number. Her hands trembled as she picked up her phone. Should she really call it? She hesitated, staring at the number for a long time, but something inside her pushed her. She had to know. She typed it in and pressed call. The ringing felt endless. Once, twice, three times, until finally a woman's voice answered. Before Flora could even get a word out, the woman, Rebecca, spoke fast, her voice filled with fear. You need to get out, she said firmly. That apartment is not safe. Maybe Rebecca had left the number on purpose, like a warning for the next person who moved in. Maybe that's why the moment she answered the call, she did not even wait to hear anything. She already knew what was going on. Rebecca explained that she and her girlfriend had gone through the same terrifying things in that apartment. Objects would vanish, weird smell filled the room, and one night, this was the worst. She woke up to see a naked man just standing there staring at her. She called the police, but when they searched the place, they found nothing. And here's the part that shook Flora the most. Rebecca said the renter who lived there before them had completely vanished. She believed his spirit never left that apartment. After that scary phone call, Flora just sat there in shock. Those words kept spinning in her head. You need to get out. Her heart was beating so fast and she did not know what to do next. But packing up and leaving right away? That was not possible. She felt like she needed to know the truth first. And the weirdest part, there had never been a proper investigation about that apartment. No police files, no real evidence, nothing. Nobody ever found. No crime they could prove. Just people saying they had seen things. Weird smells, missing stuff, that's all. And in that moment, Flora finally understand why the rent had been so cheap. Instead of running, she got obsessed with figuring it out. She stayed up late every night, scrolling through ghost forums, reading books, even watching those creepy ghost hunting shows. Piece by piece, she started learning one thing. Sometimes spirits don't leave. They can get stuck to objects from their old life, and the only way to set them free is to destroy that object. She started going through the whole apartment, checking every corner, every drawer, every little thing that might be connected to the spirit. She went through shelves, closets, even small boxes, but nothing really stood out. Still, her gut kept telling her something was not right. Then her eyes landed on the paintings, especially that one big picture she had noticed when she first moved in. The one of the woman in a white standing under a tree. From the first day, she had felt a strange pull from it, like it did not belong there. And now, as she stood in front of it again, a heavy feeling washed over her chest. It was not just creepy, it was wrong. Flora could not stop thinking about those paintings. Every time she walked past, it felt like the eyes in the picture were watching her. The air around them was heavy, and the smell in that corner of the apartment was always stronger. She tried to ignore it at first, but after everything she had learned, so one day she made up her mind. The painting had to go. She got some boxes and started taking them off the wall, one by one. Her plan was simple: remove them, maybe even burn them later in some empty place far away. With every painting she pulled down, she felt a bit lighter, like the room was slowly losing its darkness. But then she reached the last one, the painting that always gave her the creeps. A woman dressed in the white standing under a tree. The second she touched it, the nasty smell got stronger. So strong it almost made her choke. She pulled it off the wall, ready to put it in the box, but then she noticed something. Behind the painting was a hole, a rectangular hole in the wall. At first, she thought maybe it was just some broken part of the wall, but then she noticed movement, a shadow, a shape. She leaned closer, her heart racing, but then she sighed. Inside the wall was Jimmy, or more exactly, Michael, the missing man, the old renter. He was alive, but barely. His body was stuck inside that space, thin like bones, his skin dirty and covered with sores. His eyes were wide open, straight right at her, full of anger. His breath was rough and shaky, but his stare alone was enough to freeze her in place. Flora felt her whole body go cold. She screamed so loud it echoed through the building. She dropped the painting and ran out of the apartment as fast as she could. Her hands shook as she grabbed her phone and called the police, her voice breaking as she tried to explain what she had just seen. That night, she did not go back. She stayed at a friend's house, finally able to sleep without the fear of Jimmy standing over her bed. But apartment 311? For her, it became nothing but a nightmare, a place she once lived in where fear never left her side. Flora never went back to that apartment again. She stayed with her friend's family, finally able to sleep without the fear of Jimmy standing in the dark. Of course, every now and then she still felt like his presence, like a leftover shadow in the corner of her mind, but it was nothing compared to before. At least now she could rest. After she called the police, the team searched the apartment and pulled Michael's body out of that hollow wall. They told Flora she did not need to return. They handled everything from there. Some weeks later, she heard that the landlord had some called a priest to bless that apartment to drive away whatever was left behind. After that, the place was put back on rent like nothing ever happened. But you and I both know a spirit like Jimmy does not just leave that easy. Even today, people whisper that apartment 311 still does not feel normal.